Last week I was in Japan and Thailand for a few days with Sony Europe. They took around 30 journalists out there to meet with some of the senior management team and to see their sensor factory in Japan and also the factory in Thailand where the A9 is built. Now I've got some more coverage of that coming up, so look out for that. But I've just got back and I haven't unpacked my camera bag yet, so I thought this was a great chance just to do a quick in the bag, the gear I took with me, what I was using, and some of the cool little bits that I use while I'm out and about that you guys might find useful. So here we go. Let's start with the bag. This is the Manfrotto Manhattan backpack and they sent it to me a few months ago now. I've been using it quite a lot actually. I took it away with me to Norway. It's been up to the Peak District a couple of times with me, and obviously last week I took it to Japan. Quite straightforward. There's a compartment on the top here. The main camera gear is loaded in on the back. At the side here there is a small compartment that pops out and it's got your straps here so you can mount a tripod on the side or on the front there. It's got the rubber grips to stop the tripod rubbing against the material. There's a tiny little pouch at the bottom here. You can kind of put the tripod legs in there. I've done that a couple of times. Then at the top here is another big deep pocket here, and that I was using for paperwork. Now in this compartment I kept my power supply. This is one of the most useful things that I took with me. Figure of 8 cable, you know, like everything uses to be charged up, but I've got myself a sort of USA 2-prong one. I've also got a European one. This means when I'm traveling I can go straight in the wall outlet with chargers, etc., without having to use those annoying adapters. So that's really great saver, and I use it with this, which is Anker, and it's a 5 USB power supply socket. So plug that straight into the wall, then I can charge up to 5 devices via USB, which is great. Cameras, phones, etc., all charged. Okay, now we'll go on to the laptop compartment, which is on the front here rather than the back like on some things. Macbook, just a bog standard Macbook. I use this all the time. I don't like the weight of the MacBook Pro, and I do most of my video editing on this, believe it or not, and my photo editing. It's not the fastest in the world, it's not the highest spec, but it's just light, it's really portable, and when I'm carrying something around all day, anything to save a bit of weight I really appreciate. So this is my go-to computer, believe it or not, and I'm sure some of you will have some comments about that. Pencil cases. I love pencil cases for storing stuff in. You can see your contents really, really quickly. These are just a few of my leads for my computer and disk drives and stuff. And then I've got the SanDisk USB-C SD card reader, so that can go straight into the MacBook. Okay, so onto the top. In this top section of the bag, I keep the stuff that I want to grab hold of really quickly. Now, everything's in this pull-out insert. So actually, let's just pull this out. So that's the bag itself. Oh, while I'm here, these are like little S-clips. I saw these on a Joe Allen video recently. So they're literally like Caribiner Clips, but S-shaped. So you hook one on there, and then the other one you can clip things onto. And I've got one on either side. I was putting like lens pouches and clipping things like that on here. Even at one point I had a camera actually just hooked on there, so I had quick access to it. Really useful, and I think they're about £10 for free on Amazon. I'll put a link down below. So usually on the back here you've got a trolley strap there, which was handy, obviously carrying it with a suitcase, and you can access the main, all your camera stuff on this main compartment here, but we'll go through the insert because it's slightly smaller. So it's got all this webbing on it which kind of folds away when you're using it as a backpack, but it makes it really easy to swap your camera gear in and out. So in the top pouch here, phone lead, vital, charging your phone at all times. And to do that, USB battery, 22,000 milliamp hour, 3 sockets, so I can do phone, camera, all whilst it's in my bag. Fantastic. Gnarbox, you've probably seen this by now. Locke's done a couple of videos on this. Card reader, USB sockets, you can back up all your data on the go, and it's rugged, waterproof, and then you can edit and manage all those images and video from your smartphone. Really useful, handy device. I use this on kind of trains, coaches, things like that whilst we were traveling, just to get a very quick backup. So for sort of editing on the go and things where I need more power than the Gnarbox, faster speeds and things, I was using this. It's just a 2.5-inch dual RAID enclosure, and I've put 2 SSDs in here. So there's a 128 in the top and there's another 128 in the bottom. I want to upgrade these to larger capacity. Now basically it means that when you're in the various RAID modes, I can either have it as one drive, so a 256 SSD, which is great, or I can have it as a backup. So it's actually only 128 in terms of capacity, but the information is doubled on both drives, so I know I've got a very secure backup. However, what I was doing was actually plugging it in, and it shows up on my Mac as 2 separate drives. So I was using one to put the media, the data that I was actually using to edit, and the other one had all the preview and cache files and all of those on, and then of course it's using the hard drive actually on the MacBook to edit. So I've got 3 different drives for the 3 things that you're using when you're doing Premiere, and that just helps speed things up, just helps the workflow, keeps it quite neat as in where my files are, and I think it just helps the speed performance, particularly on the MacBook, but without having to have 2 additional leads and drives, just the one. So handy that is. And if it was on Amazon, 30, 40 pounds, something like that. Okay, onto the gear. Røde VideoMic Pro Plus, new out. I loved using this while I was away. It's a bit big, I have to say, but what I do like is the auto power on and off. It saved me on more than one occasion. You honestly just turn your camera on, power that on, and then it turns itself off, saves the battery. Rechargeable USB battery like everything, so for me really simple to charge, can charge it on the go, not that I needed to, the battery lasts for ages. Great sound quality, enjoyed using that. And then the camera, Sony A6500. I was using this to sort of shoot some vlogging stuff and some video stuff. That's about it for the top compartment. SD cards in a little holder there, can never have too many. As a reviewer, we often get sent SD cards to review, obviously, and we get given them at events. So I'm got no brand loyalties. I just want to use whatever's biggest and fastest or happens to be formatted at the time. So the main compartment here, Lenskirt. I love this. I've had this for ages. Suction cups onto a window, and then your lens goes through the back there, and it allows you to shoot time lapses, things like that, shoot through cars, buses, shoot through windows basically without getting any reflections on because of the black on here, no reflections from any light. So if you happen to do a lot of time-lapse stuff, the Lenskirt, recommend that. Again, I'll put a link below. Okay, so the main camera I was shooting with for the week was Sony gave us all a Alpha 9. So I had the Sony A9, the 24-70 2.8 GM lens, lovely combination. And we weren't really able to test the AF. We weren't doing sort of sports or anything like that, but it seems really quick. The frame rate at that 24 frames a second burst is just kind of unreal. It's really fantastic. And I enjoyed using it. And like I sort of hinted at, I was actually using this for video quite a lot as well. And it's quite a surprise for video. It's not designed for it. It's not got all the log modes. It's not got the picture profiles and things like that. But I just enjoyed using it, and it was nice having a camera that could do kind of anything I wanted really stills wise, but also put out pretty good video as well. Okay, onto lenses. So this is one I'm currently testing, and I took a few shots while I was away. It is the Laowa 15mm f2 lens. Now there's virtually no distortion, curvilinear distortion on this, so it was great for photographing temples and things like that. Everything was like, nice straight edges, great. Look out for a full review on that Laowa lens shortly. Now this is another one actually. It's a Kamlan 50mm f1.1. It's for the smaller E mount for the APS-C cameras. So I used it to shoot some video and portraits on the A6500. Look at it, it's so nice and small, it's solid metal construction, 50mm f1.1, and I think it was about £130. So again, I'm reviewing that currently, look out for that shortly. And like I was saying, these little lens pouches, a few pounds on Amazon, but I was just clipping them using those hooks straight onto the strap. So when I wanted to quickly change lenses, they were there. It looked a bit odd, to be perfectly honest, but I don't care. It's more important to have access to the lenses quickly. Batteries, can never have too many batteries. So these are all my A7, A6500 batteries. There's a couple of A9 ones in there, and then I've got a USB charger that will do 2 at the same time. So every night back at the hotel, I can just put a couple of batteries on via USB, and now I've got 2 fresh ones in the morning. So what else? Little Kaiser LED light, didn't really end up using this much. Blower brush, full frame sensors, dust, lenses going on and off, an essential one. This visible dust one actually is meant to be kind of anti-static and reverse ionic charge or something. I'm not a scientist. Strap, always take an extra sling strap. This one's just screw on the bottom. It is a, who makes this one? A Joby one. Yeah, it's a strap, goes on a camera. And then finally had this. Now this is the bottom of the Cobra 2 monopod from iFootage. The base plates on the actual monopod head at the moment, I carried that in my suitcase, but I use this as a little tabletop tripod for shooting video. When I was doing some vlogging stuff, I had the camera at arm's length and was, you know, doing all of this kind of stuff. And then the monopod itself, because of restrictions with shooting in some of the locations we were at, I didn't actually use the monopod too much. I used it to do some time-lapse stuff out the hotel window, but for the most part I was using the camera on this whenever I was, you know, resting it and doing some longer video shots. And that is about it. So that was my kit for the week. The Manfrotto bag is quite nice. It could do with a little bit more padding on the lower back. It was, you know, it's not really designed as a sort of carry around all this kit for an entire week. It's more of a day out kind of bag, and that's why it's got quite a cool style. You know, it doesn't look too out of place if you're sort of walking around the city or something like that. But overall, I like the bag. It managed to hold, you know, a pretty substantial lot of kit. You can get a 5D in here as well with a sort of 70-200 lens, that kind of size kit, and still get a second camera in the top like I did. There's a few things I changed in it, like I say, a little bit more padding. I'd like to see a few more little zipped compartments and smaller compartments for SD cards and batteries and that. It doesn't worry me too much when I'm going on a trip because I'm taking loads, but for a day out, a couple of small pockets would be useful. But it's well equipped in terms of larger pockets for laptops and all of that kind of stuff. I'll put the link to the bag below with some more details. So that's the Manfrotto Manhattan backpack, or at least this is the insert and all the kit that I was able to get in it. I've got reviews of these two lenses coming up very shortly, and obviously there's going to be some more coverage of my trip to Japan with Sony, so make sure you watch out for that. In the meantime, if you've got any questions about any of these kits or items, drop me a message in the comments below and I'll do my best to get back to you, and see you next time. Thank you all for watching.